What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Mafia: The Old Country yet again. And look, while we are trying to do some critical takes on this channel with the ending, and I did the review, and I'm going to be talking about some characters over the coming days, I like to break things down in that way. Let's take a look at some hollow takes that I found on social media, and we're going to be talking about that water one, okay, swimming. Now, here's the situation. If you don't know, and I'm being genuinely serious, sometimes I exaggerate, but there is few people on the face of this earth, the face of this internet, that care about water more than me. Okay, me, Robert S. Pearson of PlayStation Access. There's very few people that are freaks with water beyond where I am. All right, so trust me when I say that this is coming from a place of love, and I do love the water in this game. I spent a lot of time staring at the water. I wanted to actually see if Enzo's if it would bounce off of his body, because I know there's physics in Unreal Engine 5 that's kind of being created now that can do that. All right, so all that stuff is important in some way. So there was this tweet, blew up, got 13 million views. At the time I'm recording this, it's probably way higher than that now. In case you were wondering, Mafia: The Old Country doesn't have swimming physics, just like previous Mafia games. Now, it was pointed out in this thread, as well as just other people, this was actually cut content in Mafia 1 Definitive Edition. And again, I am genuinely being honest. I wish I could look you in the eye right now, but this is just a voice-only video. I do care about water. I do care about swimming. I care about pools. I care about water parks, all of that stuff. So I'm going to go pretty hard on this issue because I cannot believe we're here again. This tends to happen every now and then with, and here's where I guess I'm coming from, all right? The game doesn't need it. The game does not need you to swim. And I really want to get that through the skulls of people that think that this is a problem. Because to be honest with you, I mean, I'm seeing some good responses to that tweet. I'm also seeing some terrible ones where it's like, shame on developers, this is lazy, this is stuff you'd find in a game 10 years ago. This is, and I think it was Halo, maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I guess that the watermelon exploding, remember that whole thing that was appearing? And look, I will say my opinion has changed a little bit as time has gone on. I think to be a little bit more sensible, to be honest with you. Again, I'm coming from a place of, would it be cool to swim in Mafia: The Old Country? Yeah, I love the water, okay? And it would it be nice to jump in there, and I can imagine myself jumping in? Yeah, whatever. But I'm way more focused nowadays on what the game actually gives us. See, Mafia: The Old Country is a very specific game, as I've been talking about with all these other videos, and in my opinion, it should be more about, okay, what did the game give us, and grading it on that. This really goes very much in line. I would argue, I know this is maybe making a bigger thing versus this kind of being a smaller thing, but this goes into the argument of well, why doesn't it have side quests? Why isn't it an open world? Why isn't it do this or do that? Honestly, they're all kind of part of the same thing, because, you know what I mean? Because, we can take the game for what it is, and we could say, all right, did it tell a good story? Does it have good characters? Does it have good twists? The gameplay for what it is, right? We can talk about that, or we can say, well, why is this 10-hour game not a 50-hour game? Why can't you do side missions in it? Why can't you swim? Why can't you go to outer space in this game? Like the Halo thing. It's all right, shooting a watermelon, having it explode. Like Metal Gear Revengeance, right? That did such an amazing job at the cutting physics. But if the game, I don't know, are we judging Halo on if a watermelon explodes? Is that what we're doing here? And it's the same thing. That's where I think this is a brain dead take, because really this is trying to take critical aim at the game because you can't swim. You're saying, oh my dear God, a game just came out in 2025 that you can't swim in. What are we doing here? And the real question is, what are you doing here? Why are you focusing so heavily on something like that when that's not, look, the environment tells a story in this game. It's part of the game. It emphasizes that Sicily feel, all of that jazz. It's not always meant to, you're not really supposed to say, walk from point A to point B in this game. You're not supposed to say, oh, I see a mountain, let me go explore that mountain. That's a different game. You ever heard developers say that? Oh, where you can see, you can go, right? You can walk there. Have they ever said that in this game? No. Have they ever said that there's going to be, swimming missions, or that you're going to be able to have underwater sections, or what? Why are we doing that? And I don't know. Again, I think it goes back to this mindset of the game if the game is not something that we think it should be, be, then it can't be good, right? Or there has to be like severe issues with it, because that's really what it is here, right? Is, okay, we can take the game at what it is, or we can take the game at what we want it to be. And I know, look, I know it's a slippery slope, and I'm actually more like pro-consumer than maybe this video gives off. Like, it's your money, it's your experience. And this is where I kind of come from. If you don't like something, don't support it. But it is a slippery slope when we try to make something that it is not, right? So like, if you want to go hard and say, hey, we will only support a Mafia game that's open world, that allows swimming, that allows all these side missions, okay, that is what you're trying to do, and in some ways I can understand it, and in some ways I can respect it, but don't try to change the game that's not it. And also, maybe I have a personal kind of bias because I love this game. I think this game actually, at what it tries to do, excels amazingly at that thing. So what I see online, and what this water thing is trying to do, is saying, okay, well, let's change it into something else. And I know you could say, well, like, Alex, they're literally just talking about adding swimming, but why do we need to do swimming? Why do you need to jump in the water? If you've played this game, there's not really any point in it where the game is getting you that close to water and egging you on to say, hey, get in that water and swim out to the middle of the ocean. Go ahead, just do it. The game never pushes that, because that's not the point of the game. I really think that's why these two things, I keep trying to connect them. I think that's why it's important. It's not an open world game. It has a semi-open world, but you're not tasked with going to this thing and just going off. You see that ocean, you can swim to it. The game never pushes that. In fact, and it's not just that. It's not that the game doesn't push it. It's that the game actually pushes the opposite. It wants you to stay on the path. It wants you to do the missions. It wants you to focus on the story and the characters and the linear feel. How many times have they talked about this game being linear, right? Does linear sound like it wants you to get out into the freaking ocean in your swimsuit and just start swimming? No. But again, this focus on like things that the game is not, and also just picking really stupid things. Again, if you want to focus on, well, maybe they should have added an extra chapter to expand upon this or that. That is something that the game is not, but maybe it helps the game. So I'm not going against you in that mindset. I'm going against, is this really something you need to push? Same thing with like the exploding fruit. Is it something that really enhances the game, or are we being really nitpicky with what the game doesn't let you do? Oh, this game doesn't let me tie my shoes. Well, why doesn't it let you do that? It's 2025. You can't animate, somebody doing that. And that's not the point. That's the thing here too. Could they have added swimming? I guess. What does it enhance? It really enhances nothing in this game, because that's not the point of it. And that's kind of where I'm at. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.